Hello, and welcome to Movie of the Year, the only podcast that has the science and the screaming to determine what is the single greatest movie of any given year. My name is Ryan. I will be your host, and you can tell the show just started because there's still a little bit of bass in my voice. Very soon, it will be nasally as hell, y'all, so get ready for that. This season, all season long, we are tackling 1971, the year that we decided that is the bridge from old-ass crusty movies to the new Hollywood, to the movies that we have now, unfortunately. And tonight, in our very special Conformist episode, we are analyzing, discussing, and playing with The Conformist. Tonight's show, like always, is a game show, which means I will be hosting and scoring the comments, arguments, snide remarks, backstabbery, and also film talk of the two panelists I wanted to be here tonight. Many wrote in and said, please, can I do it? And I was like, bitch, for the Conformist show? Ain't no way. There's only two people I need, the two biggest conformists I know. Coming in hot after a victory last week is Greg.
I am Greg. I won last week, and I feel very seen but extremely insulted by you, Ryan. What is a conformist if not the ultimate people pleaser? So I think I have to. I think I have to own that.
If you rightfully call somebody out at it as it, all they're going to do is be like, oh, "You're right."
Yeah, honestly,
that's a really good observation of me. Thank you.
But also very haunting.
And then that voice that you just heard is our newest, bestest friend. His name is Not Mike. Not Mike, are you there?
I'm here. It's me, not Mike. I'm inside the cave, and I think I see the shadows of the two of you, but I'm not sure what the real you even are.
If you're in the cave and you think you see shadows, I think that they assume that you're insane.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, these are the real things. They're not. What are shadows even? We don't even know that. We don't even know what that is. You are insane.
Allow me to make a quick correction, because producer Dave is in my ear. Nate. His name is Nate and not Mike.
That's right.
So Nate, how are you?
The legal name change hasn't gone through yet. So yeah, probably next time I'm on the show I will be Not Mike, but for now I am Nate still, and I am well.
Let's just hope that you're not mic'd, because then we wouldn't be able to hear what you're saying. Gentlemen, I'm going to go back a couple of weeks and try and remember what this movie's journey was through our bracket. It started with 96 movies. And The Conformist came in, not one that I think a lot of normal people have heard of. It's got subtitles. The subtitles for me were in English. I don't know how you guys watched it, but they're speaking Italian up in this bitch. And Greg, do you remember, was it a squeak through? Was it one that I put my foot down on?
I think you, in a non-aggressive way, I think you kind of were like, guys, I think we might want to do this one. Not trying to be the worst part of anybody's podcast, just saying, if you like movies, you might like this movie. No one's in trouble if you don't watch it, but I think you should maybe consider it. And Mike and I went, how fucking dare you? But then we did move it on. But it's hard for me to remember because I didn't know anything about it before this week. And now it's hard to imagine myself not knowing anything about this movie because I am so transformed as a person from having seen it.
Yeah. Nate, we'll start with you. Had you heard of anything about it before, and what did you think of your experience this week watching it?
I heard nothing of it before. I never would have even thought this was a movie, so thank you for letting me know. And yeah, to echo Greg, like, I watched this and recognized, like, oh, almost all of the movies that I have loved passionately throughout my life that have come during my lifetime are taking something from this movie. That's it. It's like this is the native text for all the things that have come that have been good in so many different ways. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's my favorite part of this show is you get that impression at least once or twice a season where you're like, oh yeah, all the stuff I love comes right from this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a movie that, like, I mean, I sort of remember arguing for it, right? But I hadn't watched it for years before that. And so I can say now that those arguments were clearly because of how genius I was, knowing that this was a key that unlocks everything. That's not true. I just remember it being good and people talk about it. But holy shit. Greg, where did you land with this movie?
Well, look, can I ask you a quick question, Ryan? Because I just want to know, when you say you saw it in the past, did you see it one time in the past, or did you watch it a couple times in the past to get a feeling for it?
with this movie in particular, I remember this, but Mike won't. Mike and I used to be on a different podcast a long time ago. And what we started to do was, like, there was just no good movies coming out, and we had a new movie segment. So what we did was we said, this movie's coming out on Blu-ray for the first time. So that's like a good reason to watch it. And so we did a show about it. The show was much different than this show. That show was a little bit more surface level. I can't imagine the conversation that the piece of shit of the past had with me. I'm Mike being the piece of shit of the past. But yeah, I remembered everything about the plot. And there was, and this was not that long ago, like less than 10 years. I mean, I was an adult. I was 19. But I remembered everything about the plot, and there were certain scenes, leaves blowing, visiting his dad, that were just stuck in my head forever, outside of the Eiffel Tower. But doing it again, having seen it, having that reference point, and so I could sort of like, I know the plot, I know what's going on, and just diving into the rest of it is what an amazing experience.
Because I watched it for the first time this week, but after I watched it the first time, I was like, okay, I have to watch that again, because I'm not like the way the story's told out of order. Like, I felt like I was constantly having to orient myself, and it wasn't until honestly I had seen it 2 times all the way through that I felt a lot more comfortable with what was going on. And I would say it's visually arresting right away, but it wasn't until I had seen it multiple times that I really was like, okay, wait, this is amazing.
Right. And yeah, like if you just have the visuals to go on, I think it's kind of easier to like know all the steps of how the flashbacks work and then enjoy the visuals, but it really doesn't like hold your hand through the first 30, 45 minutes of the movie. And so it's difficult viewing in that way. I want to get to it, guys. I know that typically this is our time for tomfoolery where we'll like give each other swirlies and wedgies and purple nurples, but let's take a break. And when we come back, The Conformist. Bernardo Bertolucci's The Conformist was poised to win the Golden Bear, the top prize at the Berlin Film Festival, before the whole festival was shut down due to controversy about another movie, Okay. When the head of the jury, George Stevens, demanded Okay to be pulled from competition, many of the other directors in competition pulled their movies, citing censorship. What a bunch of non-Marcellos. The Conformist tells the story of the most Marcello of all Marcellos, Marcello Clerici, a wannabe member of the fascist secret police, who is tasked with assassinating his old professor, who is stirring up anti-fascism, or Antifa for short. The assassination is a bit of a side plot, however, in this movie, as the movie mostly focuses on Marcello's life, in the past as a victim of sexual assault, and in the present as a husband just trying to make things work. Taste buds, I ask you this. How does the filmmaking style of Bertolucci reflect or critique the themes of the movie? Is Bertolucci, who is a dyed-in-the-wool, card-carrying Marxist, if not communist, is Bertolucci condemning fascism, or is it possible he's romanticizing it by shooting the ever-loving shit out of it? And we should start right away. We should mention Vittorio Storaro, his cinematographer. We usually just give all credit to directors on this show. We got to put his ass out on Front Street immediately. Nate, where do we start with the style of this movie, and especially in regards to fascism?
Oh, I think this movie is definitely taking down fascism with every aspect of it, from shots to script to everything. The way that the camera sort of fetishizes, but mockingly so, the architecture of fascism and the sort of architecture of order. It's like everything's a pattern, everything is the same, and you have these people who are just sort of floating around sameness, endeavoring to become more samey all the time. I can't think of a more hilarious takedown of fascism as an idea.
But it looks so good, though.
Yeah, there is the danger that it looks good, but I think that's what, if you're going to critique fascism, you're going to have to engage with the fact that fascism is a visually stunning, like, political form. And you're going to have to deal with the fact that it is highly sexualized, and that it is like based on domination and like almost like a sexual domination. So you're going to have to encounter all of those things if you want to comment on it. I will say, I think he does manage to make some of the structures look absurd. Like when Marcello has to go to like talk to some functionary, he goes to this expansive, huge building where just the lobby,
Yeah.
a desk, which is like bigger than human scale, sits in the middle of this lobby, but it is dwarfed by the size of the lobby. And then the guy's office is like a football field.
Where he goes into the room and there's the one guy at the desk in this giant room. That feels almost Brazil-esque. Like,
Yes,
this
100%.
is like Terry Gilliam would do. It's satirical. The other thing I thought about with the architecture, you notice how it's just capital A architecture. And that's what you notice. But what I didn't notice until this week is what it's not. And Europe, having never been, but I've seen multiple pictures, so like Baroque and personal and like human touch everywhere. Like some artist came in and designed every aspect of it, and you can tell by all the detail. And this is like, fuck all that shit. No, it should seem like no human ever touched this stuff. This was made by robots who were just Xeroxing architecture.
Yeah, it's intentionally uncomfortable and detached from feeling, right? It's also making people small at almost every turn, which is to imply that like the traits of humans, empathy, compassion, connection to community, these things don't need to exist. We have fascism instead, right? We have big, we have stone, we have... I mean, there's a scene early in the film where when Marcello is leaving the office, he goes down the stairs and someone beckons to him from the top of the stairs and he stops. And in the foreground, in the very foreground, two people are carrying like a giant eagle and a giant statue head, neither of which...
A Mussolini head.
A Mussolini head, neither of which regular people should be able to lift based on like the material they're made out of. But we're doing this thing, right? It's like it's definitely elevated humor. It's campy.
And also, I have to say, some of the structures, some of the buildings do make sense, but in that specific scene you're talking about, he comes out of a door, and then there's just a stairway kind of hanging off the wall, and you can't see where it comes from or where it goes, and someone is going down those stairs, and then they try to have a conversation, and the like illogic of trying those two people from those two positions trying to have a conversation, and then when the Mussolini head comes in, it kind of tracks in the same way that the Mussolini head in the end of it, when it gets like dragged off a statue, it has like that same kind of movement to it. But like, so I think some of the buildings do have like a hyper order to them, but some of them have an almost Escher-esque, like just illogic to them.
I mean, like, were they designed very quickly? Is that the thing? I mean, I know that like the takeover couldn't have taken that long. I know that like, let's go to the outdoors where like the scene where he meets his dad in the asylum, but we're on these like giant steps. This is part of all part of these buildings, the EUR, like that were built by Mussolini just to get his like branding up,
Yeah.
It's still gorgeous though. It's still like breathtaking to see. It almost looks like it was designed by the top directors to like,
and think
about
I want
to have a dope ass scene here.
That's Rome. The other main city is Paris, and Paris is Napoleon's city. He basically tore it down and was like, we're going to build a more logical, better looking city here. And so it's like, we remember that more about Mussolini because it's closer to us, but then it's also the same story as Napoleon. I think that like the timelessness of these like cycles is something that the movie is like sort of very I can't believe how much this movie very casually nods at, and then is like, yes, think about this later. And you're like, but wait, the movie's moving so fast. I'm having trouble remembering all this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think audacious assholes love just big blingy bullshit, right? That's what this is.
Yeah.
That's what it's showing.
Yeah, just like, I want to get my name on all of this, and I want it to be big, and I want, like, it's just like pharaohs of the past.
And I want to replace the regular order of organic life. A city will grow organically. It will grow into itself, and it will be kind of messy, but it will be like efficient, and it will be like natural. But that's not what they want. These guys that want power, right? They want to impress their own order onto the life of a city, and so they like force out that natural growth and replace it with like a structured, planned, but also kind of maybe like less living version of the city.
Architecture is such a huge deal in here, but we have to talk about the camera. So we're gonna just talk about just double up on Bertolucci and Storaro. Okay, we mean both, because I really think that, I can't remember the last time I watched a movie where two absolute artists at the peak of their prime are going like holding hands and bringing us forward. There's a story where the first time they worked together, Storaro he had no way to light this character. And on a movie called The Spider's Stratagem. And he said, let's just turn him into a silhouette. And that will be like because of his inner psychology, I guess. And Bertolucci was like, oh my God, you're a fucking genius. I don't know how great that movie is or how well it's remembered, but I think that started this love affair that made this the most influential movie of the year. I would be shocked if we top this as far as filmmakers go. The light, the color, the light and lack thereof, the shadow. I mean, like, I don't even have a question, guys. Talk to me about
the lines.
It, please.
Yeah.
My God, the lines. Like when he goes over to Giulia's house and first interacts with the maid and then interacts with Giulia, she's got like her blinds drawn. And so the room is covered in light and shadow. And then she is wearing a dress that is itself white and black stripes. And you're just like, lines. Lines are so beautiful. And he like very effortlessly makes them all line up in a very ordered, logical way that in life we don't really see. What I've come to appreciate about movies is like a cinematographer takes any mundane scene that you can show him or them and then like brings the shot out of it. And that's what he does with all these like shadows and all these lines is he or the cinematographer captures like the perfect placement for all of these lines. And it like, I don't know. I've never loved light more than I have in this movie. I think, like, it's so beautifully shot.
Yeah. This movie, I think, is dealing in those lines primarily because we're showing Marcello's like imprisonment, either both to his own past and to the future that he's coveting with what he's doing.
This guy's behind bars, like for 90% of the movie, literally.
There's so many things. There's like he is behind bars, but it's also like the light and the dark, and it's like he sort of tiptoes on that line of being good and bad, or what are his reasons for doing things. And then there's also like good and evil. Like it's so very clear to everyone but Marcello what is good, what is evil, what is light, what is dark, and also the known is in the light. I know who I am, therefore I'm in the light. Marcello can't get there because he can't know who he is. So yeah, Nate, we're working with a million things with this.
Well, because in the scene talking to the professor when he does the allegory of the cave, Marcello spends the entire time in the darkness, right? He refuses to step into the light that is available. And
he's literally looking at his own shadow, and he seems disturbed when it disappears, as if he like he has more affinity for his own shadow.
Yeah, because that's the reality he prefers is the projected one.
Yeah.
When that shadow disappears, were you guys like eye rolly, or did that work for you?
Oh, it worked for me.
I thought it was great.
Before I understood what this movie was about, and really only understood it like in terms of loving the images, and again, every frame of this is like seriously like a Renaissance painting. It's kind of incomprehensible how good
coffee table book of frames for Christmas. I want a coffee table book of frames from this movie.
But before I even understood what the fuck was going on in this movie, really, when I still felt entirely lost, there's not a single move it made that I wasn't like really impressed with, and I could see someone smarter than myself, perhaps especially about film being smarter than me, being like, that's a little heavy-handed. But I was like, whoa.
I mean, the idea that the allegory of the cave, right? And so just quick explanation, which is in this movie, they go through it like a teacher in a college class. They walk you through it, how these people are chained to a wall in a cave from birth. So all they know is what's in front of them. And so they see people behind the cave or outside of the cave. And because of fire, there are people walking past, but they see the shadows on the wall, and that's what they think is real life. And the direct thing, not just to Marcello, but to how Plato invented movies. That is fucking movies. And I like how I heard this in countless philosophy classes, and I was never like, oh, fuck. That's why I like movies so much. I want to be chained down and watch the shadows of life instead of actually deal with real life. It just didn't occur to me. They laid it all out in this movie, and it's perfect.
No, but the irony of movies, though, is that I think movies can show you a more real life than the real life that you would see from the cave. No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious, because I think movies tell you things like this movie in particular, but many others. Like, this movie points out how sinisterly simple it is to fall into something like fascism, where you're just like, I just want to have a life that's normal. So I'm gonna.
I totally agree with that, Nate. But I just do think it's funny to be like, but actually, the people in the cave are right.
Well, no, I'm not saying the people in the cave are right. I'm just saying that movies are more effective than the shadows in the cave from the allegory. That's all.
And it's not just that they're up there on the screen. Like literally, all film is what do you point the light at?
Yeah.
Like that's just. But what do you light and what do you not? And this is the most. Oh, I want to see what they lit and what they didn't movie of all time. So
and when do you start the proceedings? There's something so powerful in stories, and the more we do this, the more I realize this about when you start and when you stop.
Right.
That is like a godlike power that only exists in stories, and I think might be the very center of why we even like stories. This ability to go, I start from here and I stop here, because that is like to kind of reiterate what Nate was saying. We want that out of life. We feel like that would help us make more sense of life if we could snip it like that and then watch it in that way, instead of this weird thing where it just keeps going. Like after you've grown and after you've learned the lesson, it just keeps going, and then you have to like make sure that you don't forget the lesson and you don't get worse instead of getting better.
It's so relatable in our real lives, because how many photo albums do you have like that all pictures of stuff before your parents got divorced? Or how many home videos do you watch where your grandma's there and doesn't die in the video? You know, you have that like splice of life. And so speaking of storytelling, Bertolucci gives credit to the editor for the structure, which, as we said, the movie starts with basically him in the backseat driving to the assassination that we see 2 hours later. And so he's doing that thing. He's remembering stuff.
It starts. Can I just interrupt here very briefly, just because it actually starts? He's sitting in the hotel next to his wife, and the phone rings, and it's like, actually, she went with him, which takes forever for us to understand what that means. But it is.
I mean, it's so hugely
in
important. Like, the second watch, I was like, oh fuck, that was right there.
Yes. Yeah.
That is so horrible that this is where the movie starts.
I want to get to that phone call later. But and then he's in the, I don't know how much he's talking to Mangiello, the driver / boss
Joe Manganiello? Sofia
he's
Vergara's
like
ex-husband?
/ backup agent, the guy who makes sure he's going to actually do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at one point it says, I'm so fucking sick of dealing with cowards. Like, I hate this guy. But we go back, and it's a little bit difficult. Well, I don't want to talk. We'll start with Nate. How did the structure of the film, whether you give credit to the editor, screenwriter, or director, how did that grip you?
I think what's so interesting about it is that for a movie about fascists, about people who forcefully create order in their own minds, this movie is grossly disordered in every possible way. And it shows that...
So you're saying be more fascist movie?
Right. Well, I mean, they could.
Yeah.
They could have. If it was an A to B movie, it would be way more fascist. But this is instead interested in, like, Marcello's own confused brain. Like, he doesn't think like a fascist. He's not a means to an end person. He is instead, like, lost in his own bullshit from beginning to end. Like, because we're opening on, this is the day, hey, I'm going to go do the thing. We don't know what that thing is yet. But the first thing he thinks about is, man, remember that one day when everything was kind of normal still right before I took this job? It's just really, it's such an interesting way to structure that. And then to jump around the amount that it does after that, to jump to his father and these things where I feel like the viewer loses track of time, right? In the way that memory works, right? If you're sitting in the back of a car and you're trying to think of anything but the horrible shit you have to do, you lose track of time.
And it's so weird because this movie is not laid out like a Hollywood film, but it's also not Tarkovsky. It's just somewhere in that
You know what it is?
You know?
Kind of an irony of it is that it starts like so many classic hero stories start. It starts in the middle of things in medias res.
Yeah.
Like and so like even though he is anything but a hero, he kind of gets the hero's beginning. And it's the classic like Odyssey thing where finally Odysseus looks at the camera and goes like, "You're probably wondering how I got in this mess, huh?"
Yeah, I think the movie's great at convincing the viewer that he could be a hero too, which I think is part of the beauty of that structure, is that you can go through 3/4 of this movie going like, maybe he's not going to do it. Maybe I don't know.
Also, once you realize that like where we are in real time, in the movie's real time, when we realize that we're on the day of the actual like killing, it explains why things that he's remembering have a lot of little oddities to them. I think part of what the movie is exploring with memory is that like some parts of memories don't work correctly. Like we remember something, we remember how we feel, but there's all these weird details. So like when he's getting I shouldn't chuckle, but when he's getting pantsed by all the other kids in the park or whatever, the adults are literally not moving. They're frozen, like they're in a painting or something.
Yeah.
And I think, well, probably that is like true on an imagistic level. Like it's probably true that they didn't intervene, they didn't help, they didn't do anything. They just stood there. They are literally frozen in place. And when you realize finally that, okay, part of this is like the magic of memories, or his whole interaction as a kid with Lino obviously doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't seem emotionally consistent from one moment to the next. I think because he's trying to protect himself from the full force of that memory, and so he hasn't quite remembered it correctly. He's like built a lot of defenses about like how he protected himself or how he was complicit in what happened, instead of just like the holy shit, this fucking terrible thing happened to me.
He's trying to make his memory conform to his experience, right? Like
conform.
Uh-oh, ding, ding, ding. That's our word of the day.
There's another couple of spots, right? During the confession scene when he's talking to the priest, we somehow just kind of cut away. He's talking shit about his wife. He's saying, I'm marrying a petty bourgeoisie. And we cut over and she's in earshot. And she's like, yep, that's good. Thumbs up. We're all cool. And then
she just has a fidget spinner, just entertaining herself.
And then in the dance scene at the end, I think there's a lot about the fact that like as the entirety of the crowd surrounds Marcello and he is being embraced by community in the most real way he possibly could, he looks uncomfortable about it. And I think because of the memory thing, it had me thinking, is he actually? Like, in reality, did he embrace this moment? And what he's doing is distancing himself from the fact that he enjoyed that so that he can be a killer?
Yeah, like purposely sort of isolating himself from his own humanity.
Yeah.
I do think that there's several shots in this movie where, like, he gets surrounded by people, and he always looks like he's gonna like get shot out of them or something, that like a crowd of people like rejects him or something. Like the way a crowd moves around him and he cannot integrate into it is something that it happens like maybe 3 or 4 times in the course of the movie, and you see him just like not get in there.
What's weird is that he's not wearing like a bright red jacket and blue pants and a yellow tie and like standing out to us. We can feel his feeling of standing out there, and like so we can feel that it's inside him and not outside of him.
Well, nobody ever accuses him of not fucking being normal. He's the one who brings it up all the time.
He's freaking out.
Like nobody is saying like he is you're as normal as anybody else because we're all deeply fucked up. But it gets a little weird when all you can talk about is like, I would like to be normal. I would like to see. Okay, why, dude? That's the weirdest thing I've ever fucking heard.
This movie is credited, I've read this multiple times, that it is a bridge between Italian Expressionism and the French New Wave. The Nouvelle Vogue, if you gentlemen will allow me to say it that way.
Please do.
Yes.
Term that I have known for so long that because
it just rolls off the tongue
making a
for
movie
you.
called that. Yeah, it's not a problem for me.
Rolls off the deep in the throat. Since it's French.
I think that's a weird... Bridge is a weird word because those two eras happened before it, and I feel like bridge means connect them. But what I do think it's a bridge to is those two eras and the new Hollywood. Bertolucci was obsessed with the French New Wave, and in particular, Godard. No, Truffaut. Godard. One of them.
You sound like me trying to remember which director directed the movie I'm currently watching.
But what he did was... he had heard from them, like he was obsessed with those movies and went to make this, and then he had heard from them as a group that doing things, and if you've seen French New Wave movies, like you know that like they were trying to get away from everything Hollywood was doing. Like we need to really show what true life is like. So scenes with tension, like let's say the scene, the assassination scene, which is essentially like a scene from a thriller, having scenes like that is fascist, according to this group of French directors. And so as much as he was obsessed with them, the phone number that he calls in the hotel room is the actual phone number of one of the French directors. And on the other line is his professor, who he has to kill. So he's literalizing. And like,
that's amazing.
I've heard that this is an adaptation of a book, but not. He took what he wanted from the book. I feel like he's really putting himself in here. So aside from that bridge of Italian expressionism, and do you guys see the French New Wave to the new Hollywood here? Like, after this watch, I don't think we would get any of the movies. In fact, after Wanda and The Conformist, I don't think we would get any of the movies we're about to do in this year and later years without these two. Do you guys feel that from him? He's saying these art films are great. I think I could put a little bit of action and filmmaking into it.
Absolutely. Like I think that what makes this movie so fascinating is the blend of these very quiet personal moments where the camera is doing a lot of activity, right? But we're just when he goes to visit his mother, and the camera's moving from room to room. They're having a conversation. Like, so much of that scene feels completely superfluous when you're watching it, at least the first time. I mean, you get more out of it, but like, there's just, oh, this guy's just gonna like pushing puppies around, which don't do that. Don't smack puppies, even though these dogs are long
I knew that was coming up tonight.
But don't smack those puppies. They're adorable. But like, that's a very insignificant non-Hollywood sort of scene. It's like, hey, we're going to sit in your room. We're going to talk about, right, you don't come home, blah, 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 whatever. Sell your car, da-da-da. Like, there's almost nothing there. But it also trades for really thoughtful, like, we're doing reflection, we're doing light, we're playing with this person looking at and into and through themselves. And we're also going to just, like, make every small moment big. Like when he's in the flat, in the professor's flat, and he gets to go see him, and we have the moment of, okay, go see him, and then all of the other men get up to follow him in.
The Antifa super soldiers that you can
all those
say
Antifa super soldiers, they shoot up on serum.
Paid for by Soros.
They go ahead, yeah. And they just, but the fact that the movie not only gives us, there's such a normal moment in that, which is, well, yeah, there's just people moving around a room, but it also is so artful because we're filling the frame with all of these people who all kind of look rough and bearded and the opposite of our clean-shaven, normal Marcello to usher him through. So we're getting everything.
Yeah. That's it. And I think that, like, part of the part that you nailed, Nate, was that we have an epic background and a single person foreground. And I think that's what we learned throughout the rest of the 70s. Are you down with that, Greg?
I have to say that I think part of how it connects to like the new Hollywood might be that it is like, I really love the French New Wave, like just grab the camera and run down and just like shoot something, and it's hand cam and like it feels like we're moving through the busy city. But there's also something like an epic and grand about like the audacious way the camera moves in some of these scenes, where it's like, okay, we didn't just like throw this together. We didn't just like have this idea and so we had to get it on film right away. It's like there's like a ballet here. I mean, of like the camera moving through a scene. There's a part where he's over at his mom's house, and out of nowhere, I think the camera goes like up and over him towards the car, and then comes back down and then pushes in towards the car. And then just a little bit later after that, there's like the really epic feeling like wind, and it's not even clear. Like, I guess he's just arrived at the asylum, but it kind of looks like they haven't actually left the same place the car was just a second ago. But he opens the door, and there's just like the wind is like so obviously cinematic, and the music swells at that moment. And so in those ways, it feels like it's still trying to be like awe-inspiring.
I think that's the thing, is that like the French New Wave is sort of, it's real life, but it's also a little bit Brechtian. Like, fuck you if you want to be comfortable with our themes or our editing or whatever. And this was like, no, can we be important? Can we like have incredible filmmaking, but also be sweeping and be epic and be like, like, can we give them the feelings that get popcorn bought? And I think that's what goes into it, because I think that Taxi Driver or films that came after this are much more Hollywood than those French New Wave. They seem hardcore now, but they are more popcorny.
Yeah. Know? I just had a quick question. I think this is like maybe a European or an Italian thing, but did they like not do audio the day they shot the
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is all ADR.
Is that just common? Is that just common practice at the time?
It's Italy. It's common. It's an Italian common practice that they were like, we just want to shoot whatever, no microphones, and then we're going to dub everything. It allowed them to cast anybody from any part of the world,
which is like spaghetti westerns, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Particularly, but like any movie, any Italian movie, they're just like, say whatever you want, or like say the lines in your own dialogue. And if your mouth doesn't match your lines, but theirs does, we don't care.
They don't care, right? Okay.
There are things that are more important than that, like shooting however we want. And that was the thing too, is that there's only one scene on a set in this movie. I don't know if you guys can guess.
The train?
No. Real Last Train.
Is it
We have trivia tonight.
Julia's
This isn't even
apartment?
a trivia question. No, it's the radio station
Oh,
where he's got
okay.
the three girls. Everything else was in the real place, and now we don't have to worry about microphones. Like, that's such a big part. Is
Yeah.
like, where do we put these things? And the fact that they were able to not worry about microphones doesn't compare to the fact that they were still able to light these real places like they did. Just amazing. I think we have to cut 2 or 3 segments, guys, because we talked about Bertolucci for that long. But we're going to take a break, and when we come back, let's do a Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore!
Gentlemen, it is Rushmore. Last week we did television. This week it's something that we know so much more about because the three of us, I don't know if a lot of people know this, we have a bit of a traveling band. Do you guys want to talk about what instruments you play?
I play the
I
tambourine.
play the kazoo and tambourine mostly.
Yeah.
And I play lead guitar, rhythm guitar, bass guitar, and drums because a tambourine and kazoo does not a band make. But thank you guys for your little groups in the background.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Well, you said you wanted to do a one-man band, but have a couple other people around just for moral support, and we show up.
We're the 3-man, 1-man band.
And I will say, just a little secret out there for all people who want to start their one-man band, cymbals between the knees. That
Yeah,
is how you
dude.
do it.
It's key.
I forgot to announce the scores last segment. Nate's at 12. Greg's at 10.
All right.
So a little bit of an early lead here, making Rushmore that much more important. Who are the 4 defining heads of the music of 1971? That's what we're going to get into. And we're going to start with Greg. Who's got to be on this mountain?
If you're talking 1971, I think that this is one of the premier years of David Bowie. Hunky Dory came out in 1971. We've got the also I think the that's where Changes came out, and Life on Mars came out. David Bowie doing so much for like the sort of glam rock aesthetic, and I think he could stand for a lot on our mountain.
Also a bit of a conformist in that he wasn't at all, but sort of bridged the 60s into the 70s in this year. It's just sort of like, we've got all that classic rock stuff. I think I'm going to weird it up a little bit and let's get glam in the 70s.
And also, I feel like we're probably going to get to touch on this, but there's a lot of interesting like notes about gender in this movie. Like Bertolucci's doing so much, but there's a lot going on with like gender. Anna, or which one is it? Anna, yeah, very masculine energy, but also a very feminine energy. I think there's a world in which Marcello has like a very masculine and a very feminine energy, and David Bowie at this time was just like, let's stop pretending like that's not a part of life.
Yeah.
Which feels like, I wasn't alive then, but it feels like it was more uncommon. And people were like, yeah, but he's Bowie. So
He's
like,
gonna make it.
Yeah,
comment.
he made it happen. Absolutely.
Excellent first pick, Nate. Let me get a couple more. What do you got?
I am going to go with, this is kind of a two-headed monster of sorts, but in 1971, they win Album of the Year for a little record called Bridge Over Troubled Water. So I'm going to say Simon and Garfunkel need to be on the mountain, but they also need to be looking at each other with a deep, quiet disdain because they fucking hate each other, but they are having musical success.
Can we have them looking at each other with disdain, but also have their lips stretched cartoonishly long so they're kissing as
Oh,
well?
yeah.
Kind of
Yeah,
kiss, I guess,
absolutely.
well.
They are upset because they
And
have
of
to
course,
kiss.
71 was the year Arthur
I know.
Garfunkel killed it in Carnal Knowledge.
So this Paul Simone, I don't know about him, but you're talking about one of the leads of Carnal Knowledge. So that's a good
100%.
step. Greg, what do we got?
David Bowie, while he was doing his little thing with gender, there is a rumor that he was caught in bed with Mick Jagger of the Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones came out with Sticky Fingers, their album that was like, hey, do you know of any bands who broke up recently? Because I know of a band who's still together getting it done. It's Rolling Stones. And there are some great songs on Sticky Fingers. But I'm just going to give a shout out. We didn't get a chance to talk about this on our mixtape show. We all love the song Brown Sugar. I don't know if you've ever listened to the lyrics for the song Brown Sugar. My wife and I once decided we were going to do that during karaoke. You can, like, I think the first line is like down on the plantation in Mississippi, and you're like, wait, what? And then
Right away.
It gets
It's
so
like,
much
whoa.
worse from there. Every line is like, oh, I won't be saying that. Oh no, I wouldn't. No, I'm not going to say that in the crowd. No, actually, could we just start another song?
Well, I thought that it like some sort of cinnamon roll with brown sugar was made, and that's how we got this.
Southern
what else would sticky
hospitality,
fingers
you
mean?
know, you're going to be presented
Right.
with baked goods.
It sounded so delicious, but honestly, it's only a song English people who just discovered the American South and its like traditions could possibly think was a good idea.
I mean, well, Mick Jagger is a renowned cunning linguist, so it makes sense that he would present a song like that.
So Mick, though, we're going with Mick for the head.
Yeah, I mean, because you know why? Because he's doing the lips, and if you think about it, that's kind of like the Mussolini lips as well, and so it's like another connection there.
And those rock lips stretch right into Simon and Garfunkel's Kiss. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nate, what do we got?
I'm gonna go a little bit of a less popular direction, but I want to talk
As is your
about
want.
an artist who releases a song called "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," which
hell
feels
yeah.
very connected to the conformist conceptually. But Gil Scott-Heron belongs on the mountain. He's also going to give us "Whitey on the Moon" later, which is one of the best protest songs that have ever existed.
I always thought those astronauts were heroes, and then I listened to that and was like, "Oh fuck!" This is the closing song, the end credit song of One Battle After Another. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
No,
yet.
not yet.
I have
But
not,
hell yeah.
but I have not, but I have to be in LA for like 5 hours tomorrow, and so I might sneak off and try to watch it.
Oh shit, do that. I said that I was going to bring that movie up every episode this season, and I forgot last week. So, One Battle After Another. Gil Scott-Heron, good choice. But let's throw the DB right on the mountain. David Bowie is there. Greg, what do you got?
We have a listener, Paul. Hello, Paul. And Paul is fond of saying, you guys do a movie podcast. Say more stuff about movies, maybe. Isaac Hayes had a song that was attached to a movie, Shaft, probably the premier like movie song combo of all time. And so I just think it would be kind of fitting if Isaac Hayes were on our movie of the year, Rushmore 1971 music.
And before this season, in our 99 season, Isaac Hayes was the star of the last movie the three of us did together, South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. So
True.
that's adorable. We'll just get Gil out here. I'll be a boy in his Gil Scott-Heron. He is on the mountain.
Great.
Isaac Hayes is a baby. Nate, what do we got?
Freddie Mercury and Queen performed their first public concert in 1971, and I think, speaking of bands that are cinematic in their performance and their songwriting, let's put Queen up there, and let's put Freddie Mercury in his big teeth.
Which also reach out into the kiss that all of these rats are having.
absolutely.
I mean, is there anything more cinematic than the movie Bohemian Rhapsody? Everyone's favorite movie of all time.
Everyone's favorite movie moment featuring Bohemian Rhapsody is, of course, the movie Bohemian Rhapsody.
Guys, remember
Okay,
Queen? They
so-
played music.
I think I'm going to move, despite I don't believe in his religion or politics, I'm going to move Isaac Hayes onto the 71 mountain,
All right.
Groovy.
which means Greg gets another point there. So we are now in speed round. So Greg and Nate, I need one more quick one from each of you.
Starting with me, Ryan. I'm going to go with Donny Osmond, who on his own, I think, had 3 singles on the Billboard Top 100, and then with the Osmonds had 2 more singles on the Billboard. It's not who I think of first with 1971, but I think within 1971, Donny Osmond was probably one of the biggest stars around.
That's probably more hits on the chart than our 3-man, 1-man band will ever get in 1 year.
I mean,
I don't love that attitude,
Yeah,
but
like let's at least try touring before we shut ourselves down.
We've been trying for 12 years, Nate, and we're not moving forward. Pay-to-play shows every Wednesday night. Nate, one more.
I'm going to go with Led Zeppelin because they're going to play Stairway live for the first time in 71, and we all know how not annoying listening to Stairway is.
Hey, look at the sign behind me. What does that say? It says, if you mention Led Zeppelin, they go on the mountain. The bonus one, which would have got you extra points, was, of course, Sly and the Family Stone,
Yes.
which is much better than my favorite cover band, Sly and the Family Stallone, which sings every Sly song like they're Sylvester Stallone. It's not a good band, and I'm going to join that, and I'm going to break up our band right now live on air.
No.
Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is how I find out about it?
This is the end?
This is the end, my friend. Your 1971 music Rushmore is David Bowie, Gil Scott-Heron, Isaac Hayes, and Robert Plant?
Sure. Yeah, I think so. Whichever one of the two of them is the least shitty.
Yeah,
about
and
this?
isn't that Robert Plant? I think ultimately that's what it comes
Yeah,
down to.
yeah, I think so.
We'll mess people up. We'll put David, Gil, Isaac, and then the Hindenburg, and then we'll let
That's
people figure
better.
it out.
Yeah. It's an iconic image.
That's your 1971 music Rushmore. That is imprinted onto rock. You can't change it even if you wanted to, and I know you do. When we come back, more of the Conformist. Taste buds, about the Conformist, I ask you this. What is the true origin of Marcello? Which is interesting because we've been talking about hero, anti-hero, villain. Is he the way he is because of what happened to him as a kid? Because of being abandoned by Professor Quadri as a student? Or is it simply who he is, a man with a coward's soul? Who is this guy, Greg?
I think what the movie shows us is that he is not any one of those things, but that he is like this. He has amassed all this. One thing you didn't mention there, Ryan, is like his parents are obviously deeply messed up. Like his mom seems like a non-presence. You know, she's like, all we know about her is that she's like doping herself up with morphine and banging.
Only has one lover.
He only has one lover. And then the dad is clearly like some sort of reform, or like not reformed, is some sort of former fascist himself. And it's like, feels like he maybe helped put those tendencies into Marcello. But then also he's abused as a kid, right? And so but I think what we see is that it's not any one of those things that did it, but it's something in that panoply of reasons that like all form together to make him like this unique ultra conformist. Because there's a lot of other conformists in the story, some that do it effectively, some that don't. But like he's like the super conformist.
I think
Nate, I mean, like, we're seeing these flashbacks as a fact. Like, the director is showing us this, you know, and Marcello is remembering these specific things. But, like, are these pieces of a puzzle, or was this guy just born weak, and then that's how you get fascist? Is it's not the strong, it's the weak.
I think it's more that he is an empty sociopath. Like, Marcello has all of these things that he's remembering, but I think because, and we have to remember he's remembering this on the way to commit an atrocity, he is trying to talk himself into why it's okay that he's doing what he's doing. He's validating his own bullshit. In reality, a bunch of things happen to him that don't have reason, and they're not necessarily fair, but he doesn't show any compassion to anyone along the way, right? Like, he's not compassionate to his mother or to his father. He doesn't seem to have even tried to make him...
Or that puppy.
He's evil to dogs. He antagonizes dogs on 3 separate occasions.
He doesn't like his wife, and he lacks introspection about the fact that, like, she kind of wants to fuck all the time, and he's sort of not interested. I mean, and that's not...
Until she identifies herself as a victim and then like goes over her trauma, which he at first ignores. He's like, hey, can we put a pin in this? Because I have to run a multi-hour errand. And she's like, oh, okay. And then he's like, let's pick this up again. And then, like, that's the only time he evinces sexual interest in her, is as she tells this story, and he kind of replicates her abuse.
Yeah, he's only capable of relating to people who relate to him. And so I don't think he's a conformist in that he requires conformity from others around him. And the moment that he can't do that easily, he turns on anybody available.
The scene where as far as we know, the only time that him and his young wife have sex in the train is so interesting because he can't, like, he seems to have no interest until she starts describing the trauma and the embarrassment of her having sex or being assaulted by a, like, 60-year-old man, a family friend,
uncle,
big and fat an uncle. Yeah. So I mean, was he related?
Well, she says I called him an uncle. To think I called him an uncle.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how he's like, okay, I can get this done now. And there's this thing that he's doing where it's like, well, now I can finally do the normal thing by being as abnormal as possible. And he can't like just come to terms with the fact of who he is, which is probably not being married to a woman, if I believe a lot of what the movie tells me. But if I can get it up in this way, then now look at us, we're having marital sex. Like we're doing it now. And as long as I can get to that end goal, and that's what it is always about, is there is no, and I don't know if this is, all fascists or just Marcello, but it doesn't matter what it takes to get to the end goal.
Right.
As long as the end goal is there. And for him, it's normality, and he will be as abnormal and sociopathic as possible. Like just throw everybody under the bus.
Well, he doesn't care about any other person's feelings at all, right? There are multiple emotional pleas to him throughout the movie that he ignores with the kind of coldness that you can only ignore if you're a sociopath. Like he doesn't register that other people have feelings or even really exist.
See, I think I see why you say that, and ultimately probably you are right, but I think he's doing the same version of the thing that his father is doing, which is his father is tormented by what he's done, and also I guess has syphilis. But I got the feeling when Marcello is like berating him with like, didn't you do all this nasty shit? Didn't you like hurt these guys? And the way he runs away and it's like, Franz, like put me in the straitjacket. I can't take it anymore. I feel like he's retreating into his trauma. And I feel like Marcello's doing that a little bit too.
Yeah.
And I think what why I bring that up is what that indicates to me is that he does feel bad about what he's doing. He just does it anyway. And he tries to like wall himself off from his own feelings. And like, that's what he does with the story of Lino. Like, there is one moment in the story of Lino where he is suddenly dragging...
Can you explain who Lino is?
Okay, yeah. So Lino is like the guy that basically molests him when he's a kid. He's like a driver, and he sort of saves Marcello as a little boy from being picked on by all these kids. But then he like takes Marcello back to his place and says, "I'll show
the
you
moment
a
they
gun
start
if you want."
chasing each other around, you're like, this is not good.
Yeah, exactly.
Do not chase children,
then,
adult men.
And this is, we're told this as Marcello is confessing to a priest, and it's very hazy. Like the priest several times says, "You're not telling me the whole story. You're lying to me." And there's like moments where when the priest says that, Marcello's face moves in such a way that indicates he probably is lying or changing some of the details.
And while, by the way, the priest is just chomping on popcorn.
The priest is hard to get the details. He's like, so you fucked, right? You fucked?
Yeah. But what became apparent watching that is that, like, when Marcello relates this story, I got the sense that he was trying to protect some version of himself when he tells the story. Like, he talks about shooting him in the head, but, like, he clearly just shot him with, like, a glancing blow, which still is not good, right? But, and there's even a moment in it where, like, there's, like, tenderness, but I think it's because there is so much pain there and he can't face it. So I think that, like, when Anna is standing right outside the window begging, that he does feel pain in that moment. It is hard for him. That when at the very end where his friend Italio, when he like turns on him almost out of nowhere and starts saying like, this guy was a fascist, this guy was the radio fascist guy, that he does feel bad about that. Like he does seem to struggle with these things. And so there is something sociopathic because he does push himself through it. But I just feel like it's not that he doesn't feel bad about it. It's that he...
Okay, so let me ask you this then. I'll go to Nate. Gathering from both of what you guys have said, is the trauma causing his actions, or is he rationalizing his actions by remembering the trauma as hard as he can?
That's where I lean, is that he's giving himself a pass for what he's doing because of all the stuff he's been through. I think that, you know, in the end scene when Anna is tapping on the window, he looks distressed about it, but I feel like he's as bothered that he's like, God, I wish I didn't have to be doing this, right? He feels put out because he doesn't take the joy in it that Manganiello would, right? Manganiello would be like, great, I get to kill an anti-fascist. I'm excited for this.
But Manganiello is like that perfect soldier of like, I get to forward my movement. and I fucking love this. It's kind of fun for me.
Right. And Marcello
he doesn't
Marcello has no movement. Like he doesn't he's an empty suit ultimately. So he's just trying to get along.
He is afraid to do violence, though. Like, he's afraid of the gun. He's afraid of having to use it. He's afraid of having to actually be like... The whole movie is, if you think about it, it takes them a while to get to it, but eventually they're like, go kill this guy that used to be your teacher. And then if you watch what Marcello does, like, imagine being Mangello. You're tracking this guy, and it's like, okay, well, when you went out to dinner, you could have killed him. Like, you could have killed him later at the dance hall. Like,
I'm on overtime right now.
Yeah,
like,
you are
this is
constructing
crazy.
a really complicated plan here, whereby you like just kill him, just do it, just shoot him, but he can't bring himself to do it.
I would have known right away if I was a secret fascist police, which I am not. Let me make that clear. That I think the highest of the ladder that we see is the guy who gives him the gun, and when Marcello is given the gun, he makes 4 or 5 action hero poses with the gun. Right then, I would have been like, give me that gun back. You are fired.
Including
Yes,
putting it to his own head at the end.
And you think you're a fucking movie hero. You think you're the shadow on the wall. You will never, ever be an actual person. And I think that he's sort of known that and been afraid of that the entire time.
And
that's
this is
what
also
leads
the
you to
guy...
fake marriages.
This is the guy who gives him the gun. This is like one of the more surreal moments in the movie. This is the guy that gives him the gun that also has an office just full of walnuts that he's like walking
Yes,
around.
dude.
Like, and nobody mentions it. And I'm not saying that's not something that could happen in real life, because part of what's weird about fascism is there'll be these really outlandish things that happen that everyone just has to accept, because you're not sure what people are accepting and not accepting at the moment.
Is this a test? Is
This
like
guy's
the real...
office is loaded with
It would be
walnuts,
as
and
if
he is going
a
to
leader's
town on
desk
these
was
bad
covered
boys.
with fillet of fish wrappers for no good reason at all.
But the delivery of the walnut moment is so great, because he's walking around. Before we see the desk, the leader is walking around cracking a walnut open. And we're just like, okay, this is some sort of Bond move. Like, whatever. He's going to crack Marcello's nuts if he doesn't. And then we turn around and like, no, he has to crack nuts. He has so many of them. Like, this is what he has to do with his life.
Also, this guy's office is like in a bordello, or this is where he sees the woman who is a prostitute that has the scar, who looks exactly like Anna, who is, I think, played by the same actress.
It's played by Anna, yeah.
Okay. And this is like, he sees Anna 3 different times in like 3 different guises. It's like he prefigures falling in love with her the first time he sees her, and then so he kind of remembers her back into these other memories or something.
Yeah, which I think totally speaks to, I mean, unreliable narrator is getting kind of boring to talk about, but like what you were talking about with the whole pantsing scene and how these adults were acting more than strange, like turned up not to 11, but just like slightly weird, is that this Anna person is being placed in all these memories, you know?
Yeah.
Like there is weird stuff going on with his storytelling, and it always, here's my favorite part, he is thinking these thoughts, trying to make himself the hero, and he can't even do that in his own thoughts. Like he's still showing his whole ass in so many of these memories, and I think that speaks to the fact that like he knows he doesn't deserve it, because there's no ideology there. You know, the second that there's a conflict or a break or hypocrisy, he's like, well, I'm not a fascist, you're a fascist. It's just
Because all those, every iteration of Anna also, one, they're not brunettes, so they are the least normal from a conformist sort of way, right?
Right.
Like, there's a redhead.
That's the
they're
diversity
blonde.
of this movie.
But they also all run to him and seek his help, right? And he doesn't have it to offer because he's not there.
I mean, the movie is beautifully shot, but I would say if you look at this from this segment's angle of, do you want to be a Marcello? Like, you're such a fucking weak, cowardly person with nothing to stand on, and that's what fascism is.
To kind of jump back to the androgyny of David Bowie that we talked about too, when Marcello is summoned to the fascist office the first time, and we get a lot of him, he's sort of like skip walking. He's daintily prancing across the floor, right? Like he's not giving masculinity at all.
You don't want to show up that way to fascism club, buddy?
he's lighten whatever type of shoe he's wearing, and he's just like sort of scampering from point to point. It's almost balletic. It's wild.
Yeah, I agree. We have to take a break, and when we come back, it's trivia time.
Trivia.
All right, gentlemen. Let's be honest. This is where the points are made. So this is a make or break segment for both of you. Greg is up by 2 right now. We're going into trivia. I'm going to ask you a question. Wait till the question is done, and then say your name to ring in. If Greg says Nate, Nate has to answer. That's a new
Ooh, shit. Okay.
No, let's not do that. Too much.
Ryan.
Too much agent. Shit. I do have the answers in front of me, so if I sound smart in this segment, that's why I'm cheating. Number 1. How old was Bernardo Bertolucci when he made The Conformist?
Greg. 45.
Nate.
Nope. Nate.
33.
I'm going to give weird age. I'm going to give that to Nate. He was closest. It was 29. What does that age have in common with my current age?
Nate.
Greg.
Nate.
You still look 10 years younger than that.
Then 29? That's fucking
you
weird,
look
bro.
19, my friend. I knew you were when you were 19, Ryan. You don't even want to look like that. You look better now than you did when you were 19.
That's incorrect, Greg. What does that age have in common with my current age?
It is way less than your current age.
No, it is the same. No points.
Oh, congrats.
Thanks, buddy. Which new Hollywood director publicly said that The Conformist was his favorite film of all time?
Greg.
Sidney
Lumet.
No, old Hollywood. Greg or Nate?
Oh, wait, old Hollywood director or new Hollywood director?
No.
New Hollywood.
Okay,
Yeah.
new Hollywood director. Steven Spielberg.
No, it is. And, like, if you guys watch Godfather Part 2.
Oh, yeah, of
Apocalypse
course.
Now had the
Of
same
course.
cinematographer. It is Francis Ford Coppola. What is movie of the year semi-regular Mike's favorite Francis Ford Coppola film?
Greg.
Bringing
Out the Dead.
No, that's Scorsese. Nate?
Sorry.
Nate. Apocalypse Now.
Incorrect. It's Jack. He loves Jack. What scene did Italian censors initially object to?
Greg.
Yes, Greg.
The ladies dancing.
The ladies dancing. That
Just
is
like
it.
when the fascist character in the movie says the same thing the censors are saying, watch out.
There's a scene with Anna's hand going right up Giulia's leg while making eye contact with Marcello. But the dancing scene, what does that have in common with the scene that was cut for the U.S. release? Which was in the version I watched. The scene that was cut for the U.S. release was back into the version that I watched.
Greg. When they're like back at the hotel after they've been shopping and Anna maybe goes down on her a little bit.
Yeah, no. But she does. Like, at least gets a sticky finger.
I love, dude, honestly, the way Giulia looks down at her like, hey, none of that now. That's awesome.
I thought this was a slumber party.
Yeah. What are you doing? Cut that out, you silly.
Nate, any ideas?
Oh, jeez. How about the train, like, some of the nudity on the train? Is that cut?
No, the Italian tried to cut the two women dancing. The U.S. version cut the scene with all the blind people dancing at the blind Italio party.
What?
Yeah. America's weird. Denis Villeneuve cited The Conformist as a foundational influence on his lighting and his architecture of which movie?
Nate.
Greg.
Dune.
Nate. Incorrect.
I know which one it is.
Blade Runner 2049.
That is correct. Why didn't I understand the movie Blade Runner 2049?
Greg.
Greg.
Because you hadn't seen the first Blade Runner 2038.
Incorrect. I saw the first
Nate.
one. Nate.
You're off baseline. You need to go in to be tested.
Yeah.
No. The answer is because it was confusing. Fashion and fascism both start with the same syllable. Coincidence?
Greg. No.
No, or yes. I don't know. I'll give Greg the point. I have no idea. The Conformist is one of the few 1970s Italian films regularly taught in both political science and what other academic discipline?
Greg. Philosophy.
Nate.
Incorrect.
History.
Yes. Incorrect. It's film.
Is it film? Oh my God.
Oh, I was hoping that happened, and it did. The conformist use of symmetry is a cinematic form of what Freudian defense mechanism?
Greg.
The conformist use of symmetry is a cinematic form of what Freudian defense mechanism, Greg?
Projection.
No. Nate?
The Oedipal complex.
Time's up. It's repression.
Okay, great.
Ah.
The conformist lack of symmetry is not a cinematic form of what Israeli defense mechanism?
Nate. The Golden Dome?
Yes.
Oh.
No. Good one.
I don't have a guess.
Krav Maga. Do we now know that the Maga in Krav Maga stands for Make America Great Again?
Greg.
Yes. Greg.
Yes, because Trump is actually more popular in Israel by 1 billion than Netanyahu is.
Yes, we do. Which New York museum held the first major retrospective screening of The Conformist in 1978?
Nate. The
Nate?
Met?
No. Greg?
I can't even. There's so many museums in New York, and I can't come up with the name of another one. Oh, Greg.
Yes.
The Guggenheim.
No, it's the MoMA. Do we now know what MoMA stands for? That it stands for Make America Mate Again?
Greg.
Greg.
Yes, that's what it stands for. Make America Mate Again.
Correct, Nate.
Nate, no?
No, that's insane. It does not stand for that. Nate gets the point. And here we go with the speed round. What would The Conformist be called if it starred Optimus Prime?
Greg.
Greg.
The Transformist.
That is correct.
Autobotanist,
What
I
would the
think,
conform-
but fine.
What would The Conformist be called if it starred little non-sticky sticker playthings from the 80s? This is a toughie. Okay, time's up. It's The Colorformist. What would The Conformist be called if it starred Aurora Monroe?
Nate.
Greg.
Greg.
The Stormist.
The Constormist. I'm going to give it to you. And finally, what would it be called if it starred the lead actor from Dirty Work?
Nate.
Nate.
The Normist McDonald?
The Conformist,
The
guys.
Conformist.
I'm going to give that to Nate. I
But
can't
we should
believe
have
how
put the
poorly...
con part in there.
That is trivia. When we come back, back to The Conformist. Taste buds, back to The Conformist. Who are Anna, and Giulia in the film? Are they simply objects of desire or something more? Let's go to Nate.
I feel like they are representations of the sort of good human nature that exists in Europe and in humanity as a whole. They are not the opposing forces of fascism and anti-fascism that exist within the men. They are entities sort of... they're sort of free radicals in their way, but they're also representing a better way to do things, like the advance of modernity. And hey, boys, all this just being tough bullshit isn't going to cut it, actually. So what if we're able to transcend these sort of traditions?
I totally agree, but I did a disservice in including them both in the same question. So
Yeah.
Greg, let's start with Giulia.
Sure.
Who sort of feels like maybe the 1920s never ended. And what is her job in this movie? Like, I definitely agree with Nate by saying that, like, there's another way to live. And is her way of living the correct way, or is it, like, ignorant?
Well, I think Giulia, for most of the movie, is like a pure innocent in the form that only exists under fascism. And part of the allure of fascism is that it returns innocence to a lot of people, because like you don't have to worry about what the state is doing. You're being taken care of, and the violence of the state is not violence that you're doing. You're just like being protected and cared for. And she, like, that seems to be the way she operates. Like, I don't have questions about what's going on. I don't want to like know why we're doing this on our honeymoon. I'm not part of the conspiracy. I'm just like along for the ride. And that seems the opposite of Anna to me.
Before we get to Anna, at a certain point, Giulia has to know about her husband and does not care, right? Like, does that change your opinion of her?
I mean, I don't look at her in quite the rosy way that Nate does personally. I feel like I don't hold much against her either, but like she she holds on to her ignorance, and she uses that as the same sort of shield that Marcello uses, like his light sociopathy, as a way of like protecting herself from the traumas of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, is she kind of the daughter that Daisy from Great Gatsby wanted? Like, I hope you remain idiots and not have to deal with any of this shit.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Like Giulia is quintessential rich person, right? Like she has everything. She's never felt want, and she doesn't feel connected to other people in any other way than it's sort of like going to the zoo, right? When they are at the dance, she is more interested in how she can show off to people. In almost every social situation, she is flexing her presence over being interested in anything else. And she's kind of not even that interested in Marcello in any other way other than the transactional nature of like, well, we can have the kind of fun I want to have together. And when he's rejecting her, she's not even really hurt by that. It's really just at the very end of the movie when fascism has fallen, Mussolini's out, that she looks like a person who has suddenly very starkly come of age. Like now she is an adult person who reckons with the fact like, oh, we have an apartment and a kid, and I have a loveless marriage, and this is miserable. What the fuck did I do?
Now you're an American. Congratulations. I think that the dance hall scene is it shows all of Giulia's arcs, because when it starts off, she comes in with a presence and it's two women dancing and everybody's like, we should not like this, but we do. Like, it's totally fine, or it's in fact intoxicating. And then she starts the whole conga line or whatever, like the hands around in a circle and then outside the building, and she's just amazing. And then she drinks more and she's just screaming. And this is like sort of the three arcs of being drunk too, of like, oh, I can push this farther. I could be more of a star. And she starts screaming, oh, Anna, your husband's coming on to me. And everybody's like, they're not even pissed. They're just like, I wish that would stop, but it's fine,
we've all
whatever,
known this person who like they don't know consequences to be a thing. So if they get really loose and they've drank a lot, they just do whatever the hell they feel like, because there's never been any consequences to this. It's just fun. Everything is a game.
Yeah, I mean, she was passed off from one house to the next, and that's the way she conceives of the world as being. You attach yourself to somebody who provides for you, and then you just try to enjoy what fruits of life there are, what records you get and what dresses you get and what nice stoles you get, or like fox weird
a borrowed
furs.
stole that ends up
Which
stolen because the person gets murdered.
I will always be freaked out by the fact that at one point there were furs that had the feet of the animal on the fur. Like, can we just make it a little more subtle than that? Let's get to Anna, who is the professor's wife. There's an age gap there. Let's go to Greg. Like, what do we make of Anna as a person, or can you make anything of her? Is she a chameleon?
Okay, so here I think Anna is her own form of conformist, but I think she is a more heroic version of it. I think there's another version of this movie that is centered completely on Anna, and you have to imagine what it's like to be her, which is like this: someone suddenly pops up from their past they can hardly remember, and right away, clearly both she and the professor are like, this is bad news.
Yeah.
Like, he has like all his toughs over at his house. She's mean to Marcello as soon as she sees him, because they know he is like a danger to them. And what Anna spends the entire movie doing is seeing if she can do anything to diffuse this situation. I will fuck you. I'll fuck your wife. Like, you can come stay at our place. I will do anything. Like, she basically begs Marcello. It's like, I don't see why you suddenly have decided you love me, but if you do, like, don't hurt us, man. Don't do this to us. Please do not do it. It wasn't until one of my multiple viewings of it that I realized she's just hustling. She's trying to do her best not to get fucking killed. And I think by the time Marcello calls them, they're like, there's basically nothing we can do to save ourselves, but we have to play this out. I think they know they're so fucked right away.
There's a double date scene in a Asian food restaurant where Anna is sitting across from Marcello and like gets his leg out so she can rub her high heel against it. And that feels like I gotta do this now. And eventually she's just like, I want to sit next to, or I want to sit across from Giulia. Like, because I've done enough of this for tonight, right? But yeah, just like playing the part. The other thing too about Marcello, and I want to go to you, Nate, about this, is what is Marcello's obsession with her? And is Anna doing this, or is Marcello creating this?
Well, I think to Greg's point, like, Anna is a conformist, but she's a survivor conformist. Like, she actually understands the stakes of, like, this is life or death for me. Marcello is not a survivor conformist. He's just a joiner. He likes whoever has power and he wants to be with them. And that's literally all he's about, because he doesn't have anything that he is. I believe Anna has like a rich interior life, and she would be meaningful. And I think that's why she is reflected so many different times in different quote-unquote women in the movie, is because Marcello sees like, oh, she's a kindred spirit, but she actually is a person. And
yeah, see, I think he sees her and he sees a mirror of himself, and that allows him to be very attracted to her. And I think she sees him and she sees a dark mirror of herself.
Right, yeah.
And that's why, in part, she is so hostile to him right away. I think they clock each other right
yeah,
away.
I think it's...
But like by mirror, do you mean the exact opposite?
Well, I think it's... I think it's
mean-
like... sorry. I think it's like he sees her as him. She sees him as like a Madame Tussauds wax version of herself. Like, oh, this is me, but it's dead.
Yeah, see, I think she's got courage. She's proactive. She has actual beliefs. He is on the side of the fascists, but he's not a committed fascist. The colonel says that. It's like, hey, man, like a lot of people are not into fascism, and I get that. They want to like get money or they want to get power. Like, what do you want? And he's like, I don't want to answer that. Can we talk about something else? And he's not a committed fascist. Anna is a committed anti-fascist. Even though she's trying to like seduce this couple to save herself, she can't help but several times be like, fuck you, dude, you're so messed up what you're doing, because she's committed to anti-fascism. So I think that they're mirror versions of each other, but they both have the same will to survive manifested in different ways. Hers is, I will survive by seducing both of you and making you love me and conforming to what I think you want. And his is, I will use state violence against everybody so nobody realizes I'm so weak.
Okay, I got a bit of a different take, which is that, like, I mean, first of all, the whole anti-fascist that's an ideologue. Like, you have an ideal, and Marcello has none. So right away, it's like, I'm so jealous that you believe in something.
Yeah.
That's so cool. But what I think that he's also jealous of, we have not talked a ton about Marcello's sexuality, which I do think is complicated and fluid. And I think that Anna's seduction of Marcello is forced and staged and performative. And I don't think that's the case with Giulia, although I do think that Anna is bisexual. And I think that he watches Anna make a move on Giulia from the outside of the room, spies on it, and is jealous of that fluidity.
That she could own that.
Yeah, you're so brave about, you just like fuck who you want to fuck. And he's like, I can't fuck anybody. I can't fuck men. I can't fuck women. I can't fuck anything. Like, there's like, you just have, because of the ideals that you have, it allows this. And because of your bravery, it has this. And I'm stuck here with nothing.
The other thing too is, when Anna's introduced, or somewhere in the flat, right? She's wearing pants and like a white shirt tucked in, and she is approaching the camera she's walking not in a traditional like women hip swiveling way. She's walking in kind of it's transcending. It's bouncing between
She's smoking,
femininity
she aggressively
and masculinity.
marches towards the camera.
So you've got that.
Right.
You pair that with the fact that when Lino is initially like addressing little boy Marcello, he is also wearing trousers and a white shirt, and he's got suspenders on, and we see him from the back, and Lino's waist is small so that it accentuates his hips. So you have this parallel between what Lino did with what sexuality is and what Anna's doing with what sexuality is.
Fluidness,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where it's this thing that transcends body or gender, and it just is a thing.
And like, I mean, the whole part of Bertolucci with the fascism and everything is like, it's hard to make decisions. There is no black and white. With all the shadow, there is no black and white. This is all uncomfortable. And even in the Lino and young Marcello scene, you're supposed to like. I think there are times where like it seems like the child Marcello wants it, and I'm not saying that Lino should be like given any sort of slack
Yeah.
whatsoever. But the way that he takes off his hat, his chauffeur hat, and the hair comes down is very confusing for young Marcello, you know? And I think that's like sort of the position that it puts us in. So he is just, I don't want to be confused ever again. I don't ever want to be like, what is happening right now? So therefore I will go with the strictest lines possible.
And then yet the movie ends. He's looking back at what I imagine is a gay sex worker, totally naked in the same condition that he leaves his wife in the very beginning of the movie. And he's looking back at this guy with longing, and Lino has just been trying to seduce this guy, but he's now chased Lino off. And he's looking through these bars, and it's like he's still so far from having expunged whatever this is inside him that like he just can't accept.
Not just looking past the bars, but looking past the fire.
Oh, yeah,
we're not
that's
looking
true.
at the
There's fire
shadows
right
anymore.
there.
We're looking at the actual dude. And we're like going to confront what we're actually looking at finally.
I do think the other important thing about Anna, though, is she chooses to go with her husband, despite the fact that she is given multiple chances to choose the easy way out, which would be just stay in Paris, we'll hook up.
A little bit of Casablanca going on here.
And she takes the hard but moral road, right? She has a compass that Marcello does not have. Because Marcello at the end is just dragged to his fate and just observes his fate happen. And she chooses to be there, and then she chooses to run, right? In a way that, like, if it was reversed, Marcello would just sit there for somebody to shoot him. Like, he doesn't have like any passion.
And the other thing too, like there's no passion and there's no bravery. Like Anna tries to get in the car, but she doesn't and gets killed. Marcello sits in the safety of the car. He sits outside of the safety of that room watching them every single time. Like he thinks spy is a cool thing. And this movie shows like how cowardly it is to just not be involved and just to watch and think that your life is going on. Like even in the radio booth, like we can't go out there like Italio and actually talk to the mic. We're going to sit in here with the protection, as much protection as possible. It is speed round, and I think that we have knocked out all the speed round questions, so this is going to be a quick one. We talked about what influenced the Conformist. What did the Conformist influence? Did you guys have certain movies that you watched and you're like, oh, this is because the Conformist?
Yeah, I felt like all of the Coen Brothers movies that I really like are this, right?
Yeah.
There's because something we haven't really talked about is this movie is really funny also. Like there are a lot of moments of incredible levity that happen. Some of them are just Giulia, but some of them are things like when they're in the dance studio and just a bunch of kids come running up to curtsy to Anna to leave. And then we get a beat where the littlest one runs up and curtsies clumsily and then runs off. Like the movie is very aware of how fun it is. And it's also doing that with the fascists, right? Like the fascists are treated like just bumbling dipshits. Like it really is joking around the whole time.
I was going to say that the way the camera moves, the way Fincher moves the camera seems like an evolution of the way Bertolucci moves the camera. Like, you know, now I'm going to actually push through the walls in a way that like you would struggle to do, or push down into this trash can, or but the motion of the camera and the way it like redefines the space for you. There's a scene where he and Anna are talking like outside a train station or whatever, and the camera's just rocking back and forth so that like when they each talk, they're in the middle of the frame, and it's rocking back and forth so gently. But just like the way it explores that space, it makes the scene almost three-dimensional in a way.
There's another scene, too, where Mangiello corners Marcello in, like, a restaurant. And there's very clearly some like a little bit of a movie-making thing where, like, the light is swinging back and forth. But we're so into how light and dark works in this movie that we're just, like, it's like I feel a weight on my chest just watching this light. Like we have this movie alone, not all of movies. This movie alone has trained me to just be on that light. And I don't know if we have a Coppola. I don't know if we have the director Warren Beatty. I don't like. There's so many.
There's definitely Lynch in here.
Yes, It's just like we can do both, guys. We can tell a compelling story and make art at the same time. In movies and TV shows, people are always going to and just walking into classes their friends teach. We have a couple teachers on this podcast. Could you imagine a friend just showing up to your class?
Yeah, I think this is a deeply messed up thing. It's like fairly common in a movie or a TV show where like those be like, well, we'll go check him out at his school. If anybody ever walked into my class while I was teaching, I'd be like, get the hell out of here. Text me or something. What are you doing? I feel uncomfortable having both my worlds touching like this.
So every day when I bring you lunch, it's awkward every time?
Well, that's why I say that. That's why I say the thing I just said.
Yeah, I get the same fucking speech every day.
Leave the lunch. Get the hell out of here.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
Take the cannoli.
I left my computer charger in a classroom that I taught in the night before, and I went in during a class, and I thought it would be no big deal. I'm a teacher. You're a teacher. It's fine. Jukebox. Plug pulled. Everyone turned around and looked at me like I came in naked. Just stay out of people's classes.
Well, even more disturbing in this because he's barging into there's one male teacher in this whole thing, and he's kind of seems to be like maybe he's the facility janitor or something. He's the grandpa of the ballet class, but like you're just walking into a bunch of underage girls, and the woman that you're also like going to murder / covet, which is it's bad news.
But he took his hat off.
Well,
in 1938, you got to take your hat off. And then finally, our last ChatGPT question. This is from ChatGPT in Des Moines, Illinois. Who wins most repressed couple of 1938? Marcello and Giulia or your parents at Thanksgiving? Guys, do we want to answer this? We're going to take a break. And when we come back, awards and recommendations. Gentlemen, it is awards time. It's time to hand out some awards to this movie that was nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. And it was denied its entry into the Best Foreign Film nomination. Because other movies, I guess, were better. And
so like they put in like a different foreign movie or different...
Italy, this was Italy's submission. And 5 other movies from 5 other countries got nominated. And we all remember them so well.
Are there 5 other countries?
There are. There's California, Oregon, Seattle,
Chipotle.
Texas, and New Mexico. The score right now is currently, and I just want to make sure that you guys are sharp in your awards nominations. It is 26-23 Greg.
Ooh.
So here we go. This means a lot. Let's start with musical moment. Nate, what is the musical moment of this movie?
I've got to go with that the opening radio, like live radio broadcast of the band, which, one, it sets up the world as so normal
Yes.
and so accessible.
Inside the only scene that's shot in a studio.
Yes. Inside
So
the only
fake as
it's
hell.
like it's the fakest place, but it's the one place where you're like, "Oh, I think I kind of understand these people. Like maybe this guy's not so bad. They're just kind of talking about like he wants to get married, blah blah blah. Like it's so milquetoast. And it's so like classical and iconic, like the look of everything. It has a very end of 2001, like everything is white and there's just people in it playing music.
And I'm just asking questions to one of my favorite touches of the movie, my blind fascist friend. No big deal.
Right. But it also just made me immediately think of Mulholland Drive, right?
Yes, for
Which
sure.
has another important sort of studio style music scene. It's just like it says good, clean fun, which is such a beautiful misdirect for where this movie is going to go.
Greg, what do we got?
I love that the movie never mentions the fact that Italo is blind. And it's like, hey, guy, you just... you know how what these people like feel like you know how they think about like I don't want to make a big deal about it, but like like
Blind people have no empathy, I guess.
Like maybe Braille won't be a fascist priority.
music moment for me, Ryan. I am a simple man. This movie features 2 ladies in tight dresses dancing, and while they do that at like sort of a very violin forward, almost like salsa type music plays. And there's so much good music in this movie, but that moment is the most fun moment. And again, when you're having fun as the viewer, you then suddenly remind yourself, didn't this guy come to kill these people?
Yeah.
That is kind of the Coen-esque moment of it, of like, sometimes you can push that stuff aside because we have other
Because they're hanging out. It's so weird.
I know.
You forget what the mission is like 4 times while watching this movie.
And that's because Marcello wants you to, because he's trying to so hard.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give that one to Greg. This comes at a point where you're like, I don't know if the movie has anything left to offer me. How could it? And we see another one of the most important scenes in film history.
Also, 1971 had like normal looking people in movies, and both of these women are pretty, but they're not like movie pretty. But part of what is cool is by the time this movie is over, you are deeply in love with both of them.
You're in love with both, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you guys are into each other and both a little bit into me, could we, I don't know, make something work? Greg, this is a 1938 taking place movie, and we're doing 1971 fashion. What do we got?
I'm going to have to go. We've already mentioned this outfit, but like the first time we really get a good, clean shot of Anna, she is in a time where women are supposed to be like very ultra feminine. She's wearing slacks. And we know that if Mr. Dennis were here, he'd be like, "Hey, when you're with me, no slacks." She's
right out the window.
She's also got like a her shirt has on it kind of like a neckerchief thing. And what's interesting about that is that like that neck, the neckerchief is kind of like part of gay culture, and it's also very like feminine and it's stylish. And she's like, you see everything about her gender in this one shot. She's so masculine, but she's so feminine at the same time that you can see
she's
why
like Fred from Scooby-Doo and Daphne at the same time.
Did they both wear kerchiefs?
They sure did.
And man, they're both making a move on Thelma. And it's like, wow, I wish none of these characters had to kill each other. But that's Scooby-Doo.
Did Big Kerchief force Scooby-Doo to become a cartoon?
I think so, right? Because the only person who doesn't have a kerchief or some sort of neck covering is the stoner. Bare necks. Bad news.
He was known for his kerchief, and then he smoked one hit of weed, and he was like, "Get this off of me." Nate, what's your fashion-forward moment?
Oh, man. I mean, I think, look, I'm going to go with a black straitjacket. And I'm saying this because it's the 70s. We're shaking things up, right? A normal straitjacket is white, right? We're going sanitary, but this straitjacket is not only breaking a boundary in fashion, it is also indicating to you what Marcello thinks of his father being a source of darkness in his life.
That seems crazy too, because he hits him with the empty sleeves of his straitjacket, which is abuse, but like not super productive.
Also, the dad runs away. I've never seen anybody be like, "Put me in this straitjacket."
Yeah,
like
get
that.
Me back in
Let's
there,
go.
buddy. He just sits down. But
I feel like that's a Jim Carrey moment, though, isn't it? Like, doesn't he ask to be straitjacketed in Batman Forever?
I think he goes like, "Oh, tighty then," because it's super tight.
All right, you're gonna win the show. That was it. That was the one.
If I said that on a show that Greg was scoring, I would lose 25 points. But I am going to give that to Greg because that Anna moment is pretty breathtaking. Let's go to
Imagine
Greg's...
ever looking that cool even for 1 second, and they like caught it on camera, and we'll always have that.
I love too that she seems to be convinced of and then unconvinced of and reconvinced of how cool she looks while she's in that shot, which just feels so real, right? Like, oh, you're seducing me. You've lost a little confidence. Oh, you're back to seducing me. Great. This is very real.
Everybody in this movie makes what Aziz Ansari wear make more sense. Like, oh, I see what you're trying to do. You're not in the movie The Conformist, but like I get it a little bit. Greg, cringe moment.
Okay.
Is this a movie with a lot of them?
Definitely. There's definitely a lot to deal with here. But I'm going to go with something I mentioned earlier, which is that when he is confessing slash remembering what happened between him and Lino, there's like a lot of different perspectives on just this one story coming in, like at the same time. In some of them, he seems like a participant, and in some of them, he seems like a victim. But there's one very clear part where it's like he's being lured up into Lino's room, but then suddenly Lino just grabs him and drags him in and throws him on the bed. And I feel like for 1 second there, he forgets to lie or he forgets to cover up the part where he was like brutalized by this, that this was not an okay thing that happened to him, and that he can try to like reconcile it or something, but that when Lino grabs him and throws him on the bed like that, it's just so clear that like what level crime is being committed.
And it's so fucked up because it's like, because of the person that Marcello is, he's like, I was a victim, but I'll never be a victim.
Yeah.
And like forgets how to tell both sides of that
But
story,
I shot that guy in the fucking head,
Yeah.
just so you know.
And I did it.
And I've never done anything weird like that since then.
Which, I mean, like, I don't think Lino got hit by a bullet and survived. I think Lino was fine the entire time.
You don't think he got hit in the face? Because it's so weird. He gets a
there a
scar on
scar?
the face in the same place that one of the early versions of Anna has the scar.
Oh, fuck.
It's so
Yeah.
weird,
Okay.
dude.
Nate, what do we got?
I mean, I was gonna maybe talk about the train recounting of being Giulia recounting being sexually assaulted thing.
That'd be a good one.
I think it's cringy. I mean, we already kind of covered one layer of the cringe, that like this is the only thing that gets Marcello going. The thing is that it's the most connected the two of them are, which is extraordinarily cringy, right? That you have a person who is representing kind of the ultimate beneficiary of fascism, someone who's just, I'm rich and I get to continue living my life without any change. And then the social climber fascist. And their common ground is like, you know what? Sexual violence is actually the only thing we have in common. That's really terrible. And it's played as a romantic moment. Like the movie sees it in a loving way, where you are like,
did you see that motherfucking sunset behind them while this is going down?
Yeah, it is so romanticized. While if you are listening / reading it, you're like, this is fucking wrong.
Right. Okay, that one's going to Nate. Yeah, that's cringy as hell. Let's go to Nate for director signature moment. What is the Bertolucciest moment of this movie?
Ooh. Maybe this might be the cinematographer, but
I know it's hard, right?
I think it's really especially in the first 20 minutes of the movie, Marcello is constantly by himself, but surrounded by things that are perfectly spaced and perfectly measured and perfectly ordered. He is placing himself in places, trying to conform to the non-living. He just wants to be a column or a pillar or a window. He doesn't want to be himself because he doesn't like himself. He doesn't like people. He doesn't like feeling things. But what he loves is that, hey, this repeats. And as long as there's repetition and similarity, it's okay. I feel okay.
And that, like, I can see how you think that is enticing. That's fucking fascism, baby. Like, that's how it works, is that you are important in your non-importance somehow. Okay, Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, you don't have to be anything, right? Like, it's the ultimate pass for him not having anything inside him is, I don't have to be anything.
And maybe if I fit in perfectly like a puzzle piece, no one will look at me.
The nice thing that they're doing in the film is, for the most part, they're still shooting on interesting angles of those things, right? You're getting some sort of vanishing point action happening, rather than doing a Wes Anderson thing, which would be as on the nose as possible for doing the symmetry and the nothingness.
I mean, and that's the thing, is that like you took the most boring thing that you can be and made it look beautiful. That is confusing. But Greg, what do we got?
In a movie that is all about light and how beautiful light is, the most striking example, I think, is when he finally meets with Professor Quadari and they talk about Plato's allegory of the cave, and to like illustrate that in the same way that the professor used to when he was a student, Marcello like closes one of the windows and it gets darker than almost any movie except for Wanda that I've ever seen, and then the light that pours through the other window, which I think is aided by probably an exterior actual light, it comes in so bright, but just like the quality of that light is so beautiful. And in a scene that is about the darkness and is about the light, it is just like kind of stunning. And then I think probably it might be a little bit too much, but that moment where Marcello is looking at his shadow and then it disappears. But there is also like a optical illusion where because it had been there for a second, I think in your eye you see it and don't see it at the same time after it disappears. And I just like that single moment in the middle of that scene just was like very breathtaking.
Which I'm sure was the case for Marcello. Like, he had this moment to realize, oh my God, my shadow disappeared, and then forgotten immediately, because that's the kind of guy.
One thing we didn't talk about at all either is at the ending when all of the fascists come out of the woods. They like emerge from nowhere. You have the stark winter trees with no leaves, and you have the light breaking through them, creating just like, I mean, the trees become bars, and you have this kind of this heavenly diffuse light passing through everything. That, yeah, it just pitches the drama so
guys
much.
can come by and do run-by knifings all dressed exactly the same.
Which is Mrs. Doubtfire's favorite type of knifing.
I just love that that's what the plan ultimately amounts to. Like, all of this work, and then it's like, and then we'll get him in the woods and stab him.
But, like, we talked so much about who Bertolucci has inspired. It's hard to imagine who inspired that scene, like, before Bertolucci, of just a bunch of guys that you thought you were fine with just coming in and stabbing you.
The Caesar style?
Yeah, when has that been done before? You guys both summed up the movie in your scene, all the themes of the movie, and I love it. I'm going to give the point to Nate for just being a little bit more, I don't know, more like I wasn't going to guess that one. So that one goes to Nate. Let's go to pound for pound performance, Nate. Who's got this one?
I got to go with Stefania Sandrelli. She plays Giulia. Like, this movie requires this character as ballast to the fact that Marcello is so flat. Like, he's just floating through. You have this character who at once is everything that's silly and stupid about just being too rich to care, but she's also childlike. She's also very silly. Like, we're constantly the scene when she goes to listen in on the phone call that he's having about when the hit's going to happen, and there's just something about the fact that she's able to pose herself where she's got the phone to her ear and she's leaning back in a way, in this very fashion model-y sort of way, that makes her like timelessly self-aware that she's in a movie.
She looks like an advertisement. She looks like you would see in a magazine or something.
That's what she sort of thinks her job is like, I just need, if I continue to look like an advertisement, I will be fine for the rest of my life.
She's a decoration.
Right.
She's a human decoration.
And that's exactly it, right? That's her character. She represents the idea that, like, look, there's some people who just think that, like, all you have to do is be the image of what reality is supposed to be based on the people with money who designed the image of what reality is supposed to be, and you will be reality.
So often there's so many like complaints about characters, especially female characters, of like they're not given anything to do. And those are legit complaints. Like, they're not often given enough to do. Giulia doesn't really make any choices that change the direction of this movie. But this performance, I think, is outstanding and makes her like the script combined with her performance is such a complicated character that like she deserves her own episode of just like, am I dumb? And it's possible. But am I ignorant? Am I just have blinders on? Like, what am I doing here? Is so fascinating to me. Greg,
she's
what
giving the do you come with the car? Oh, you he energy, right?
Right.
Like, she knows what she's doing.
My fear is that if this movie was remade in 2025, she'd be played by Julia Fox, and that would not go well. I don't want to see that.
The Conformist.
But if it were made in 1999, she'd be played by Julia Stiles, and you got to think that's
true.
A good idea.
I like that one. Greg, what do you got?
There's only one other choice if you're not going to take the actress that played Giulia. I'm going to go with Dominique Sanda, the actress who played Anna. I have noticed in the last couple of seasons that we've done this show, just something that is a trend in movies, which is movies are sometimes accidentally about the wrong characters. Or that there's like another character that like you just wish the movie explored. I would love to see this entire movie from Anna's perspective, because I think what she's doing the entire time is fighting a losing battle to keep her husband alive. I think potentially even more than herself, because I think she does believe in anti-fascism and he's an important voice for that.
But there's a thing of like, I'm young and I have so much fire inside me, but we're sort of watching the fire go out, and there's like this, like, I guess I'll do this and this and this, but like,
because she's trying everything, and it's actually everything is being foreclosed. You know, like she's her seductions are being rebuffed, or she's like having a hard time understanding. She can't like get people situated in the way she wants. It's just not working, and you're watching it all fall apart on her. Anna is the most inscrutable character for most of the movie, and so the more you rewatch it, the more you spend time trying to figure her out. And she's framed in such a way that the filmmakers are very aware of that, but it's also makes her very alluring.
There's a degree to which it feels like Anna is the actual anti-fascist, and that her husband is sort of like, well, this is, a man has to be the one with the ideas because of when this is.
Yeah, she has the more principles. She can't hide it, even though she's in the middle of trying to save them by seducing them. She several times has outbursts where she's just like, "But you guys are so fucked, and everything you're doing is wrong."
She's also really smart, because at the end she's like, this is wrong. There's somebody following us up a mountain road. No one should be. And he's like, what? Don't worry about it. It's just, she's very much the final girl of the movie, but she doesn't get to survive.
I think that Anna is the most smart person, because she says she knows that like everything she's doing is fake, but she knows that it is, like she can feel that. But I wonder if at certain points in this rewatch, she's a little bit jealous of Giulia. Like, wouldn't that be such a better life? Like, if I run away with Marcello, I have to deal with this fucking moron who is going to switch whatever his thoughts are with like the wind of what's going on. But like, I just get to relax, dude, and like, she's just at that age where like, does that sound better? Does it sound better to like throw all of my integrity into the fire? Okay. That point's going to go to Nate. It is Giulia. But ultimately, I do think it is Marcello. Does anybody have his name written down?
Yeah, he was my second choice, but
Louis Trintignant.
I think
to
do this to like I'm gonna be the action hero of this movie, but not at all. I think it was such a incredible performance he did of like, you will always be the coward when it's important.
Dude, the absolute rope-a-dope the movie throws you is when he first is waiting downstairs in the very beginning of the movie to be picked up to go do the hit, and the way he's standing there in his trench coat looking so cool, and the music comes in and goes like, you're like, oh, this guy's a fucking spy. Here we go, y'all.
That's another thing I think why it's against, or not against, but like a comment on French New Wave is like, those guys that looked cool were cool, and this guy clearly is not. I'm going to go first in recommendations, and I don't know if I've ever done this before, Greg. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to recommend a movie that we have done before.
What?
On Movie of the Year in the 1984 season. It is Mishima, A Life in Four Chapters.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because here is a movie about a person who control and being immaculate means so much more than anything human, that he will sacrifice whatever it takes, family, friends, whatever, just to make everything perfect. And then has his comeuppance because that's not the right way to live. And also, it is hard to think about Paul Schrader, the director of that movie, and Bertolucci, the director of this movie, as not film fascists trying to like make every shot as perfect as possible. Like, are they doing that thing on set? And then are we watching, when we're watching this movie, a commentary on them worried about, am I this person? And I think that Mishima and The Conformist are such deep dives into Schrader and Bertolucci. I think that Bertolucci and the cinematographer of The Conformist both said, like, we didn't know what we were doing until we got there. I a little bit disbelieve that, and a little bit think that maybe they're so talented that was possible. But like, I don't think that they were making demands. They were making sure that their set was perfect, and they were saying, let's do a movie. Both of these directors were saying, let's make a movie about fascism. But on this set, like, I sort of am the dictator, right? And them dealing with that, I think, comes through in both of these movies.
And by the time Bertolucci gets to Last Tango in Paris, he comes off as a total fascist when the story is about that. Yeah.
Like, maybe it's time to go to jail, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. To the head.
And dictator is funny because Marlon Brando's dick looks like a tater. Nate, what is your recommendation for us?
I'm going to recommend The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie as a good parallel to this. It's similarly stylish in the way that it's shot, but it's also dealing with this idea of this really disturbing detachment from humanity that can come from finding yourself in a class that is different from the class you see everyone else in. Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie also plays with the fourth wall and the concept of what is a movie, what is a play, what is being an audience, what is not. And I think that this movie is doing that to a great extent, right? Because the allegory of the cave is ultimately about like, hey, you're watching this. What are you taking away from this? Are you getting it? Do you get that the hero isn't always the hero?
And it goes so much further. Like, what do you get out of me asking you? What are you getting out of this? And the fact that I asked you that question, and now you have to think about that. What do you get out of that as well? One of the Buñuel movies I have not seen, so I'm going to write that down, Nate, and I'm going to watch it. Greg,
it's really good.
What do we got?
I'm going to go with the 2015 novel The Sympathizer by Viet Thanh Nguyen. It's about a guy who is born in Vietnam, but his dad is a priest, and after he's in Vietnam, he moved to Southern California, and he's got a foot in like all these different worlds, and he understands everybody. He's got all these dualities in his personality, and it should make him sympathetic to everybody, and that should make, like, you would think that means that he's like a man of all people and he's very good, and instead that kind of just becomes a recipe for betraying everybody, including himself, and being like kind of a nullity, ultimately being like nothing at all because he he tries to be too many different things at the same time, and that understanding so many different viewpoints makes him like a perfect spy and double, triple agent, but how it makes him basically not a person at all. And it's also very, very funny, very well written. And for a Southern California boy whose dad is a Vietnam vet, it's also about Southern California. And like, the Vietnamese are one of our biggest populations around here. And so it talks about Orange County and the kind of the racial dynamics that I grew up with. And for those reasons, I recommend it.
I mean, I think that we've done a pretty good job tonight of not mentioning current politics, right? Even though this movie fits right in there. But like with The Sympathizer, which I have not read, but I have seen half the HBO show, I would say, to not have like a clear true north, to not have like, here's what I believe.
Yeah.
But instead, I'll believe whatever I need to say right the fuck now. Seems like it's such an easy path.
Makes you Aaron Burr, sir.
Yeah. Who was a bursar? Good recommendations, guys. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to figure out who won this whole ass bitch. Gentlemen, it comes down to this. First of all, before I announce it, Nate, who do you think won?
Oh, I mean, I think Greg won because I feel like I piggyback Greg's points an awful lot.
That's so interesting. I'm just asking that to like get more introspection on you, and I'm going to give Greg a point for that because it's the audience that won. Greg, who do you think won?
Honestly, after tonight's great show, I felt like I was on my game. I felt like Nate was really on his game. If you had to pick one winner, I think it would be the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Nate 5 points for that.
Yeah. Well, that might have undone it.
And the obvious answer was, of course, Ryan. But the final scores come in. Greg has 43 points. Nate has 41. It was so close. I thought you guys did amazing tonight.
Thank you, Ryan. That's all that matters.
Yeah, thank you.
But Nate, you are 0 for 2 this season, and I want you to pick a 1971 movie where you actually watch and talk about well.
You're putting up mic numbers, son.
Hey, look, every episode of the show needs a heel, and I'm happy to come in and play the part.
But when I called you Mike earlier, that was a joke. And now you're really acting like a Mike right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just cannot win an episode. Guys, we have done Bertolucci before. Last Tango in Paris. It is our -- ranked YouTube show, and I think that's because people think that they get to watch the movie if they click on our podcast, but that's fine. Either way, you get to hear us. What awards do we think that this movie's going to take down?
Ooh, I feel like I say this every week, but biggest shithead? I mean, like, can you be a bigger shithead than Marcello is in this movie?
Have we ever had a biggest shithead be the star of the movie?
I don't think we have, actually. The other thing might be on-screen duo. I'm sorry, Anna and Julia, like,
yeah,
that's one of the better on-screen duos we've ever had.
That dance scene is just really amazing. And I know, like, Ryan, you texted us before this about how it parallels the dance scene between Cher and Ty and Clueless. And I feel like we will see tons of times where two women are
Oh.
dancing together, and it will mirror this almost exactly.
Gentlemen, the glass is broken on the Conformist for you guys, and you will see, especially in 71, but like there's probably diminishing returns throughout the 80s and 90s, but like this is a thing. This is the most directoriest director.
Romy
movie.
and Michelle in their high school
Probably.
reunion. There's probably. I haven't seen that in a while.
I don't think you can watch a Coppola movie after this, and they are all after this, where it's not clearly there. Like we talked about the leaves coming up, and it's not even like, I'm going to pick up that theme. He just reshoots the leaves coming through that yard into the car. Like this is the thing that said, like, I can make old Hollywood and new Hollywood together, and he does. Like he is the bridge. The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2 are the bridge between what was before and the new movies after. So I'm so glad we got to watch this. I'm so hopefully Canopy, right? This is where people should go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I watched it on Canopy 4 times. It's like 2 tickets.
It's great.
You could watch
You-
so
yeah.
much stuff on Canopy.
You get so many tickets a month.
Yeah,
it's
it's
wonderful.
so weird how many tickets
Support
they
your
give you.
library.
I love how Canopy treats itself like a carnival where you can like watch The Conformist 2 times and then also go on the merry-go-round. But yeah, it's not that many tickets. Please get a library card. Please subscribe to Canopy. Nate,
And don't eat too much funnel cake, please.
funnel cake's fine. It's the cotton candy, bro. That shit's
Well,
disgusting.
I'm just saying, like, you're gonna get sick if you're doing too many turns on the old Conformist.
And you know what else is weird is if you go behind the ride with the carny, it's the meth. The meth gets me every time.
It's true.
You know
Nate,
what?
where
It keeps them like on their toes, though. I think they're
That's true.
Yeah.
Like,
You
they're
do
so
need
sleepy.
You need a waking man at the break.
Nate, where else can we find you?
You can find me on Debut Buddies. That's the podcast that I do every couple of weeks where we talk about firsts, such as the first David Lynch movie or the first female elected official, or coming up, the first presidential convention in Arkansas for some reason. That we're doing it.
Yeah.
Get ready.
I mean, you got to get those ratings up. So,
Oh yeah.
Arkansas convention's going to do that.
Apparently, there's a flooded ghost town at the center of this, so that'll be interesting.
For Nate from Debut Buddies, for Greg from Movie of the Year, I am Ryan. Keep watching those movies, and hey, Goofy, how do we do?
Perfect cast.